Hello folks, welcome to another tutorial for this class, ITAS, Information Technology Applications. I want to talk more about the operating system Windows to you. Outcome 1, which we'll be doing first, obviously, outcome 1, is based on the operating system and using Windows. I know you all do that automatically, and every time you turn the machine on, that you use Windows, but I'll try and maybe show you a couple of things that you may not know about the operating system. Now, I've shared my screen this time rather than sharing each individual application that I use. So hopefully you can basically see my desktop and the icons I've got on my desktop. Now, the way to control Windows is through the control panel. You use Windows Explorer to look at files and stuff, but the way the operating system actually works, the way it looks, the size of the fonts and stuff you use, is all built into the Windows operating system, and we control that through the control panel. Now, I've got some control panel icons on my desktop to save me going into the control panel to get these all the time. I've got these two here. Device Manager, which manages all the devices attached to my computer, like, let me see, there's my disk drive that's attached here, one drive partitioned into two pieces, or two partitions, sorry. Anytime you add a new bit of hardware to your computer, this is where you'll find it if you're having problems with your printer or your print queues. You go in here to see what printer's giving you the errors, adding keyboards, anything hardware related. Hardware, I mean you can hold it in your hand and pick it up, that you add to the computer. You can go in here and have a look at the settings for it. Another one that I use is Power Options. This is on my laptop. I use this. If I double click here, it takes me into what you can see the path name, like I showed you last week in Windows Explorer. I'm inside the control panel, hardware and sound, Power Options. Now in here, the one that I use a lot is choose what closing the lid does. When I press the power button, whether I'm on battery or plugged in, I want the operating system just to shut down. When I press the sleep button, do nothing. Why? Because the sleep button is something I never use. When I close the lid, I want it to sleep. I never press a button for it, but a lot of the time I do 3D animation and stuff, and I've left the computer rendering, or if I'm stopping a Zoom session that's been lasted for a couple of hours, it can take over an hour to turn the video into a compressed MPEG-4 file, a video file. So when I shut the lid, I don't want the computer to go off and stop doing that. So sometimes I'll change it from sleep to do nothing. So when I close the lid, the computer stays on. All that's happened is I've closed the lid. But normally, sleep. Sleep means it will come back up quickly when you open the lid and press the button. Yeah. When you shut down, you have to reboot the machine, press the power button, and it boots up again. But when it's sleeping, it's hibernating, it just comes out of sleep, out of hibernation, when you kick the machine back up, and it comes on pretty quickly. So those are two things, Device Manager and Power Options, that I've found in the control panel. To access the whole control panel, the easiest way that I find, if you hold down the Windows key and press R, we get this run box. And if we type the word control in there and hit enter or click OK, up comes the control panel. Yeah. Now, in here, we can do things like the appearance and personalization of your computer. Let me see. We can change the desktop icons so they've got a theme. We can change the mouse pointers. Changing mouse pointers, yeah, it can be fun, but you're used to seeing the same mouse pointer on every computer that you go on, and if you start changing them, it can start to make you a bit mixed up. When I first got into computing, yeah, I changed the mouse pointers to things that I wanted, like little clocks going round when it was busy and stuff. But they all just soak up system resources, so I tend not to do that. In here we also have the display. This is where we can change the title bars, the size of the text. I tend to use a larger text size than everybody else because my old eyes aren't broken. The size of all items, I've got it at 125% rather than normal 100%. All that means is it makes the icons bigger and the text a bit larger, which means I get less on my toolbars than what you get in certain programs, but I can scroll the toolbar to find the things that I want. So in here is where you would change the desktop resolution and stuff. There's another way you can get into personalisation of your desktop. If you right click on the desktop, you can choose personalise down here, And in here, you can also find the screen resolution. Take note of that, yeah, that's where you find the screen resolution, a quick way of finding it. Display settings, you get screen resolution in here as well. But again, like I said, you can right click on the desktop and take screen resolution from there. It'll just bring you to this screen, yeah. Let me show you how to take some screenshots as well of this stuff, because Outcome 1 requires that you take screenshots of the work that you do. So if I go to my applications and type SNI, you'll find, because I'm searching for an app, it finds this snipping tool. Now yes, I can take a screenshot by pressing the print screen button on my computer, PRTSC or PRTSCR, the print screen button's got. It's usually on the top right hand side of the keyboard. But this snipping tool is a lot better because I can tell it I want a new snip, then I can highlight the part of the screen that I want, like so. This is now an image file that's inside the snipping tool. And when an image file is inside the snipping tool, it means I can paste it anywhere I like. Let me bring up Microsoft Word. Now guys, I can normally bring up Microsoft Word by clicking the Word icon on the bottom of my toolbar here. Sorry, taskbar at the bottom of Windows, not my toolbar. It's the taskbar, it's at the bottom. Now, but rather than click on Word and load it that way, look, I'm going to bring up the run requester again, and I'm going to type in, in fact, no, yeah, I am. Yeah, I've got another keyboard handy here. Give us a wee second. Because this old laptop of mine, the W key's broken, and rather than copy and paste it, I've just plugged in another keyboard, so I can type in one word. In my head, I think that reminds me of Windows Word. All one word, OK, and it will launch Microsoft Word for me. Blank document. So, like I said a minute ago, inside the snipping tool, this is an image. The section of the screen that I selected, this is an image that's ready to paste. So if I was to go to Microsoft Word, give it a heading, I don't know, personalised desktop. And then if I right clicked, I can choose paste. I've got a couple of options. Paste it as a whole screen. Or, come on. That shouldn't have given me the whole screen. Give me a wee second. Right, for some reason it looks like I've pressed print screen, and if you look, I've got everything on the screen here. Let me take that away. That's a mistake. Let me go back to the snipping tool and also bring up the thing that I want to snip. And if I click new in snipping tool, and again this time just select the area that I want, then go to Word, paste. Yeah, there it's there. Right, this is a bit big. Make it a wee bit smaller. Now I can't move this anywhere. Yeah, left, right and centre is about all it'll allow me to do until I do text wrapping. If I right click on the image, wrap text, square will do. I can then move this about. Yep, and I can click underneath here. If you look, the insertion point has went from here and it's now going down the side of the image. See that? The little flashing line? Because the text is wrapping square around the image, and then it'll eventually come underneath, watch. There it's there now underneath, ready for heading 2, whatever that may be. Now, I showed you last week running Windows Explorer. The quick way was either double click on a folder in your desktop or hold down the Windows key and press E, which brings up the Explorer. Yeah. One thing I want to talk to you about is virus checking. Now, most of your laptops or desktop PCs will have some sort of virus checking software in there. I think the easiest way of checking virus, rather than bring up the virus checker and then selecting a folder or drive, most virus checkers, in fact I think all of them do it, if I right click on a folder, I should get the option, or click on a folder, left click to select it, then right click on the selected folder, sorry, my mistake. I should get the option to scan selected items for viruses. Now this is using the virus software that I've got installed on my machine, this one. AVG, free virus checker. Don't need anything fancy, bells and whistles. It tries to, every couple of months, AVG throws me some sort of, do you want to update to premium version, we'll give you all this and all that. I'm not really interested. I use a free firewall and I use Free Virus Checker, and it's worked fine for me for years. So like I say, once you select a folder, you can right click and scan for viruses. This will bring up AVG and start scanning that folder for viruses, or it'll do it quietly in the background. I'll tell you in a second. Let me see. Just doing it quietly in the background there. That's surprising. I thought it would have thrown up at least one window. Yeah, it has. There we go. Let me show you another way of taking a screenshot. Here's the virus checker, and it's on front of Windows Explorer. Let's say I only want the virus checker, but I don't really want to use the snipping tool. I can just press the print screen. Now I've pressed my print screen key. I'll stop that virus checker because it's just sucking up resources. And if I go back to this Word document to paste that in, I'll show you how I can paste it in and then crop the image so that I only get the part that I want. So Control and C is copy, Control and V is paste. So Control V should paste that in. There's the image I just got. Now if I right click on the image, it should give me the option to crop. No, where is it? There, up the top, up here, just above the menu, crop. The way the crop tool works, see these little black handles that's appeared? I can drag it in to the edges that I want. Because I only want the picture of the virus checker, I'm not interested in the picture of Explorer behind it, or my taskbar at the bottom. I'm only interested in getting this image of the virus checker. So I can take it down there, and then press return or enter. And that will crop that image, and then I can size it, and then wrap the text. I always wrap the text. It allows me to move things about later on if I have to. So that's me checking for viruses on a folder. Now I've not let the virus checker run complete because that folder that I selected is all the students' work from last year, and there's thousands of files in there, so hundreds probably. I don't want to let it run forever and ever. What else can I show you? This Word document, let me show you a wee bit about security in Word also. I can password protect this document. File. Where's info? Info. Protect document. Encrypt with password. Now, I'm going to put the password computing in here with no capitals, so I don't have to remember if I used a capital or not. Okay, and it's asking me to confirm it. Computing. Right, now if I close this document, I'll save it first, then close it to this PC, and watch when I try and open this document now. Oh, slight error. This always happens when I open Word documents from Explorer. Anyway, it's now asking me for a password, and unless I give it computing as the password, it won't open. Right, I had a wee list of things I wanted to talk about. Yeah, sometimes your computer will hang up, freeze, Microsoft Word maybe close or freeze, and you don't know what's causing it. Now, most people, you've seen the t-shirt, have you tried switching it off and on again? Yeah, that's usually the last resort. But we bring up a thing called Task Manager. Now, you can access Task Manager from the control panel too, but the way to bring it up is quick keys. Control and Alt, Control plus Alt, if I hold them down, and while I'm holding them down, tap the delete key, and it brings up the option to select Task Manager. Task Manager shows you all the processes running on your machine. Like there's my version of Microsoft Word there. Now, what sometimes may happen is it may come up here and say Microsoft Word, it will say under the status, not responding. Now that would tell you what it is that's hanging up your machine. most of the time the thing that's not responding is what is hanging up your machine. And if you just kill that one process, it gives you your computer back without having to, excuse me, reboot the whole thing, like switching it off and on again. You can right click on a process and choose End Task. End Task, watch, Microsoft Word, no longer loaded, document closed. Which would mean it would give me access to my machine again if that was the thing that was freezing up my machine. I'm going to show you that again. Control Alt Delete. Nerds call it the Vulcan nerve pinch, bringing up Task Manager, because some of them can do it on a laptop with one hand. Control Alt and Delete. So the Vulcan nerve pinch. Anyway, so it brings up Task Manager. Let me take a screenshot of that. Do I still have the snipping tool open? No, I don't. So Windows key and R, and can I type in? No, I'll not do it that way. I'll do it through the apps. Press my Windows key and type snip. SNI should bring up snipping tool. I can close that because I don't need it. Oh, that's there. See what happened there? Snipping tool fooled me. I thought that was my display resolution, but it's not. It's actually the image of it within the snipping tool. So I want a new snip. Let me take a snip of Task Manager and then show you that I can just go back into Word. In fact, I won't bring up Word using WinWord. I'll go back in and open up the document I had already, operating system, and put the password in, computing, okay, okay. And again, when I click here, the text is going square round the image, so the insertion point, if you look, is here. And if I press return to bring it down to underneath, and Task Manager, whoop, helps if you look at the screen when you're typing, and Control V to paste, Control and V, and I can resize this a bit because it's a bit big. Right click, wrap text, and square. So here I have a document, a Word document with a header with my name in it. Why do I keep hitting caps lock? And I won't bother with the footer. Now this document has been password protected by going into File and Info and Protect Document, Encrypt with Password. What I want you guys to do is, in the operating system, I want you to, you've already created a folder structure last week, so that's good. I want you to bring up this section where you can personalise your desktop, take a screenshot of it. I also want you to take a screenshot of Task Manager and a screenshot of your virus checking software running. I want you to paste those screenshots. Now you can use the snipping tool, or you can use print screen and then crop the image once you paste it in. 3 headings, one for each image, a header with your name, and I want the document password protected with the word computing. Once you've done that, I also want you to, let me take all this away. Where am I? Yeah. I want you to put it in the exercise Dropbox, the same as you did with last week's files. If you got my email telling you I'd put the Dropbox on here, I want you to dump this file in here too, which means you should have 2 Word documents in here by now. The one last week, the 10-page document, and this one this week with the screenshots. What I'm leading up to here, guys, is outcome 1. And outcome 1 requires that you need a base knowledge of Microsoft Word to put screenshots in, and you also need to know how to take screenshots, create folders. Now, a little thing about, well, there's one thing, another thing I want you to put in. I got you guys to create a, bear with me, you created a folder last week called College, I believe, and in here you had your iTask folder. Now, watch at the left hand side here, C drive. Now next to the C drive there's a little triangle, see it? And if I click on that, it will maximise the C drive. I can then go next to the little triangle next to college, and what I'm seeing is what's inside my college drive. If I clicked on AIT, there's college AIT, and this is the contents of AIT. If I click on college ITAS, this is the contents of ITAS now. So it's shown me the path in my computer, the computer's C drive, college folder, ITAS folder, and underneath that, this is the contents of the ITAS folder. Yeah. If I click on ITAS at the side, so what it's shown me on the left hand side is opened up on the right hand side. And if I take a screenshot of that, that's the folder structure created for this class. And go back to that Word document. I'm going to put a new page in here. So I'm going to come down underneath, put that back up. I want a new page break. Bear with me. When you put blank pages in, there's nowhere for stuff to go, like the images, because I haven't created any space yet. So now that I've got space underneath this, I should be able to. This is giving me a bit of a headache. Yeah, there's the space now. Folder structure. Right, now I can save this document. So, create this document. Stick the folder structure in there too, along with the other 3 screenshots that I said, with headings, and a header with your name, and password protect the document. Where's info? Encrypt with the password. Use the password computing with no capital letters. Now the reason I say that is it makes it easier for me to open them all the time if I don't have to keep pressing capital letters all the time, because I've got to open a lot of these. Yeah, let me close all this down. Oh, and have a little look at my list to see if there's anything that I still want to talk about. Yeah, backups, last thing. My folder, whoop, wrong buttons, there we go. In my C drive, this is my college work here. Now, this is stored in my C drive. I've got a recovery drive here, and if I put a thumb drive in, that would give me another destination to save work in, another drive, yeah. Thumb drive is a USB pen drive. I don't know whether you've heard the term thumb drive, it's maybe a bit old fashioned for you. USB pen drive. So backing up data means making a secure copy of it in case the worst should happen to your college folder. You can do a few things. Stick it in another drive, email it to yourself, burn it to a CD or DVD, store it in a cloud. There's a few things you can do. But for the purposes of this, I need to know that you can take a copy of something and stick it somewhere else. So if you right click and copy your college folder and then paste in your documents folder, there it's there. I've now made a copy of my C college folder. Look, oh, no, I drag that, I drag that. And if I bring up another version of Explorer, put it on that side of the screen, we go to documents. So now, college in my documents folder, college, oh wait, in my C folder. 2 versions of the same folder, ideally a backup. Yeah, just something to make you aware of. So now that you've started working and producing work for each class in the college, it may be worth, at the end of every week, copying your college folder to another destination. Listen, I've been a student before, and the amount of work I've lost through being lazy, thinking my laptop's fine, or my hard drive's fine, and then the worst happens, you spill a drink on it, which is why some of the keys in my laptop don't work right away. Or you lose your, you spill a drink on it, or you get a virus, or the hard drive dies or packs in, or your thumb drive you've been using all the time because it's secure and you can take it out of the computer, it dies on you. So always have more than one copy of your college work. Now, imagine the worst did happen and you had backed up every week. You've only really lost a week's worth of work. If you back up every day, you've lost a day's worth of work. So just a little heads up on backing up your college work. It is important. and it only takes a couple of minutes to take a copy of your college folder and store it somewhere else too, whether it be online or in your email, and maybe zip it up in so it's only one file, compress it to one file, and email yourself that. I'll show you how to do that within the Zoom session or in class. I don't want to drag this tutorial on much longer, so I hope you enjoyed that, guys, and like I say, once we get this finished, I think next week we may start on outcome 1, which is much more of the same as what I've been doing here in these tutorials. So I'll stop now and I'll speak to you in class. Bye bye.